I have a question. Cosmic beings communicate telepathically, right?
I thought you said you had an interpreter.
I'm going to translate what you say.
Yeah.
So she tried to speak her own
yeah.
words in English.
Yeah.
Try to. Yeah.
Do you understand when I am about to say in Japanese? 私たちがお互いの言語を使わずに意思疎通するにはどうすればいいですか?
Interpreter.
Okay.
That's your cue.
Okay.
No.
Remember, I am not speaking any language at all.
Sure. The
I am
question
simply
was,
sending thoughts that are translating into the language that the channel was raised to understand.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to translate that to her, but the question was, will you be able to understand what she's going to say in Japanese by telepathy? But you already answered that question right now, so I'm going to explain.
Some beings will, yes. And in the telepathic contact, you may hear them in your head in your own language.
Oh, okay.
But
that's not what's happening here.
Okay.
言語で
わかりますか?
バシャル
One
は、
moment.
そのダリルを通じて
Yeah.
翻訳してるから、この日本語で聞かれてもわかりませんよと。
Okay. During channeling, even when the channeler is not conscious, does the channeler's language ability limit what can be understood?
We do not understand what you said.
Okay.
Allow the interpreter to do his work.
Okay.
Yeah.
どれ
だからチャネラーの
これでしょ
意識がない。いや。
こっちね。チャネラーに意識がなくてもチャネラーの
No conscious.
理解できる内容が Okay, so during the channeling, Daryl has basically out of the regular consciousness level, and so, but
the channel has consciousness, it's just not focused in his normal way.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And I think go back to the reply that you already gave us, but the understanding by you, Bashar, is limited or controlled by the language level or the information level understanding of the channel himself, or does it surpasses the capability of channel?
The information can surpass the channel's knowledge, but very rarely does the language surpass the channel's vocabulary, because we use the channel's vocabulary as a translation device to translate our thoughts into your language, at least one language that the channel understands. On rare occasions, we can supersede the language, but it's very rare because the channel was simply not brought up to understand other languages. So that's the limitation of the translation device that the channel functions as, but it's one of the reasons why the channel was encouraged to have a very large vocabulary even as a child, because that's the path the soul chose, so that even at 1.5, the channel was reading at an adult level.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Okay. I guess you understand
Okay,
what you said, so
Yes.
just gonna skip the translation.
What are some important tips to remind people on Earth to communicate telepathically?
Again, you have to be in love. You have to be on the same wavelength.
Okay.
It's love that does it. Those that are in love know what each other are thinking because you're having the same thoughts at the same time. Remember, telepathy is not reading each other's mind. It's reading your own mind, but you know you're having the same thoughts as someone else who's on the same wavelength.
Okay, I see. And another question.
Okay.
Yes?
Another question.
Maybe she doesn't need my translation.
Yeah.
She got it.
Okay.
All right.
I
Will that
read-
do?
And more another question.
Yes.
I read the book in Japan. The book said Bashar is a star. A star is the captain of Interstellar Alliance.
I do not understand what you are saying. Please use the translator.
Okay.
Okay.
I see.
All right, so she read the book in Japan, and the book said that Bashar is actually the Ashtar.
No,
Okay, that's what I
that
thought.
is
but-
incorrect.
She wanted to ask that question to make sure that you get the, I should get the answer from you.
That is not correct.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
Will that do?
Last,
大丈夫ですか?
大丈夫です。Last question. Yeah, last. Really last. Is there Ashtar or members of Interstellar Alliance in the audience as well? Audience.
Members of the Interstellar Alliance in what?
Audience. In the audience. Huh? Yes,
Okay,
in the audience.
are there or is there Ashtar or the member of Interstellar Alliance in the audience right now?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Yes. So I haven't really known you that long. It was just last March that I came here and listened to your transmission. And I've been following the formula really seriously and listening to a lot of your transmissions.
All right.
And loving it.
All right.
And I'm noticing in my mind that I get this like Swiss cheese mind, and I'm not sure if it's part of the evolution of my brain shifting, toxicities and or other things, and I'm wondering what your
Well, what are you
perception-
describing as a Swiss cheese mind?
That I'll have thoughts, and then all of a sudden they disappear, and I have to wait for them to come back.
Yes, sometimes this can be a symptom of understanding that memory is actually created in the moment. In my civilization, we don't have a memory as you understand it. We simply know that we will know what we need to know when we need to know it, not a moment sooner, but not a moment later. Living completely and utterly in the present can simply cause that symptom to start happening until you get used to the idea that you will simply know what you need to know in perfect timing and won't need to retain it as a memory.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is, am I part of the hybrid project?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to give you all a little bit of a hint.
That we all are, since we're here and love this.
If you have found us, you are probably involved in the hybrid program in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be having these conversations.
And do I have the hybrid children?
It doesn't always mean that your genetics was used to create hybrid children, but it might mean your energy patterns were used as a kind of a template upon which to build the hybrid children. It may mean that you are involved in helping to teach the hybrid children how to acclimate to Earth society in certain ways, because you are very foreign to them and they don't understand how things work on Earth. So there may be many ways in which you may be involved in helping the hybrid children understand where they are coming to live.
All right. Were my nightmares as a child part of that?
Yes,
Okay.
because you didn't understand what was happening.
Right, okay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. It is a good day. I was curious when you said you were checking with people. Who are you checking with when you need to see if an answer can be given?
Many different beings. Councils, other beings that are observing Earth, beings that are in contact with the collective consciousness of your world to let us know what it is that's appropriate to say and what it is that might interfere with your particular path of evolution, so that we do not overstep our bounds.
So there's hundreds or thousands?
Thousands.
Great. No pressure. Got it. Okay, so I just found you like maybe 6-8 months ago. I really appreciate your teachings. One of your transmissions that's really helped me is letting go of limiting beliefs.
Yes?
I've been working through that quite a bit.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Yes, it sure has been. And also Willa's teachings.
Yes.
Is she around?
Well, she is always around and accessible, even though it may or may not be appropriate for her to come through at any given moment.
So would she be listening right now?
She is aware of what is going on.
That's so cool.
It's whatever temperature you want it to be.
So our meditation last night was quite enlightening.
Yes.
I was curious if your spaceship is over us or was over us last night.
Well, it is over Bell Rock, as it has been for quite some time from your point of view.
Oh, cool. Did you see me wave at you the other night?
Let us put it this way. We felt the energy waves from all of you.
Awesome. So one of my greatest passions is working with animals,
Oh, all right.
animal rescues specifically.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm emotional all of a sudden. A lot of my animals, they tend to get symptoms that aren't explainable.
Well, they are explainable if you understand them as reflections of the different things that humanity needs to look at within itself. Because one of the most unconditionally loving things that animals are here to do is reflect to humanity the things they need to clear out within themselves. So if you understand that they may be representative of different things that humanity needs to look at within its collective or individual society members, then you may understand what it is they are reflecting and what it is they may allow you to discover or go through that may eliminate the idea of those conditions in the future.
Okay, so when vets can't figure it out, when they don't respond to treatments in textbooks ways, they could heal themselves just kind of miraculously.
It is possible, but again, if you cannot find the reason for what's going on, you may have to look deeper for the reason, into your psyches, into your emotions, into your belief systems. It may not be solvable by standard surface medical approaches. You may have to look deeper within.
How would you suggest I do that in my life with my
By
animals?
having honest self-investigation. It may not necessarily even always be representative of you. Just because you're interacting with them doesn't mean they're reflecting something to you personally. Sometimes they may, but sometimes they may be reflecting things that are about humanity in general. And therefore, it's giving you an opportunity to understand all the different things that humanity itself needs to look at within itself, and you can be of assistance in perhaps bringing that to the attention of humanity as to what those things represent that they need to look at.
That feels really big.
Well, yes, it is, but not bigger than you can handle, because
Okay.
you're really big too.
Okay. So I have felt a little bit held back with all of that.
Because
I feel that I need to be there for them,
beware.
be at home with my animals.
Yes?
This is the first trip I've taken in 9 years.
All right, but understand that they understand what you're doing.
They do.
Yes, of course they do. They're intelligent beings.
Yes, they really are.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it. Do you understand that they chose to be with you?
I needed to hear that.
They don't make mistakes about who they're with. The animals choose to be with you all. So if they're with you, they understand the work you're doing. And they understand that sometimes you may need to go on trips. Don't worry about it. Love them as best you can, as unconditionally as you can, and let them reflect to you what it is they need to reflect to you. But understand they chose to be with you. They will allow you to do what you need to do. They know what you're doing is benefiting all of them.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
Because I often feel,
Guilty?
no, I feel like people judge me.
So guilty.
Is that the same?
Well, taking on the judgments of others means you're judging yourself to be guilty of something. Otherwise, why would you accept their judgments against you if you know they're not true? In the same way that if a stranger came up to you on the street and said, "You're a bad person," you would go, "Well, that makes no sense because you don't even know who I am, so why should I pay attention? That's just your issue."
Right.
So just because you may know the people who are judging you, why should you take what they're judging you about to heart unless you're judging yourself for the same things? and finding yourself to be guilty.
A limiting belief that I need to get rid of.
There you go.
Got it.
Because how does it serve you? Because you don't hold on to things that don't serve you.
Yes.
Remember, sometimes people that act like victims remain victims because they use victimhood to get what they want. Therefore, they believe being a victim serves them.
Right.
And therefore,
Well, I'm here, so
yes. But just because you're here doesn't mean you have to change. That's in your hands.
right.
So it's up to you to decide whether or not you have reached a point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yep.
All right.
May I
Yes.
ask a question about frequency and vibration?
You may ask anything you wish.
Thank you. So I Googled it, and it said that those are two different things, but I
Yes.
feel like in this context, those two terms are used interchangeably.
It can be. It depends on the context here. But again, the idea is that vibration is just an undulation. Frequency is a measured undulation of a particular vibration relative to a certain point in space and time in terms of when it passes that particular point and how many times per a measured time it does so. So one is a little bit more technical about the pace of a vibration relative to a certain fixed point in space and time, and the other is just a general term of things that are undulating
Thank you.
at any particular given rate.
And it seems as though when we talk about high vibration, high frequency versus low vibration, low frequency,
Yes.
there's a positive with the high and a negative connotation with the low.
Yes, often that's the case.
Well, going back to animals and our companion animals like cats, they purr at a lower frequency, and that's
That's
known
not
to...
the same thing.
Can you clarify it for me?
There are different kinds of resonant frequencies that mean different things in different contexts. Certain physical frequencies have nothing to do with the frequencies that we often talk about. In fact, sometimes the frequencies that we refer to in humanity are things that your science doesn't even know anything about yet. We're just giving you a general barometer of where someone may be on their journey in terms of whether or not they're operating in flow with themselves or operating in resistance to themselves. So the idea of the way we often use frequency relating to a human being is just a very general barometer of how they're doing. And it's not necessarily as specific frequencies in physical reality that may be caused by certain functions within animals or other phenomena.
I see. Thank you.
So we understand that language is limited, and sometimes it does require clarification and a context to understand what we are referring to. So thank you for being willing to ask questions that help us clarify those ideas.
Thank you. And I was just wondering, besides our clear budding friendship, do I have like a personal relationship with extraterrestrials?
I wonder what that answer could possibly be. Are you capable of answering the question for us?
Sure.
Is that sure you're willing to answer it, or sure you have the relationship with extraterrestrials?
Ooh. I guess I'm not sure, and that's why I'm asking.
Why wouldn't you be sure? You're talking to an extraterrestrial.
Right. What about the others?
What about the other whats?
Extraterrestrials? Or is it just a me and you thing?
Oh, you flatterer. Every human has connections to some degree with extraterrestrials. Pleiadians, Arcturus energy, hybrids, grays, Sirius beings, mantis beings, and several others that we're not necessarily allowed to talk about yet, but will arrive in the near future. Now, the idea is that not anyone that actually has those general connections energetically necessarily has a lot of extraterrestrial encounters on the path in life. It may not be that important for them to interact with that extraterrestrial energy, even though you all have those general connections. So the real question is, are you involved with extraterrestrials in more than a passing way in your particular life path?
That's a good question.
Well,
What's the
thank you.
answer?
The answer is yes, you are.
Cool. I love
Oh,
that.
there's that temperature again.
No. Are there any animals in particular on Earth, that I could serve better?
Well, better how?
Providing them sanctuary?
Cats?
How did you know?
Oh, good guess.
Particularly, why cats?
Because they can see into other dimensions and they'll tell you a lot about what it is they see.
Thank you.
And there's one of them speaking up now.
Probably.
Plus, their purr vibrations are very healing.
Yes, indeed they are. Do you have cats where you come from?
We don't have pets. We have many interactions with animals, but we don't have pets in the way that humans classically think of having pets. Animals interact with us all the time, but we don't look at them as pets.
I guess I don't either.
All right. Then you really are operating as an ET.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are
and
so
everyone
welcome.
else. I love you.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so grateful for everybody here. Also, the volunteer team that I'm a part of. It's just been such an amazing experience. So, thank you guys so much. Woo! And always, thank you for your service. You have been so instrumental in my healing, and I want to give you just a little bit of my backstory in terms of like the limitations that I have lived in, like through my own creation. Yes, I was born in a dense reality with a lot of abuse, and then I was addicted to heavy drugs, not the good psychedelic kinds, but
Sounds exciting.
yes, for like 6 years, and then eventually I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and
Oh.
so there came a point where I was like, okay, we have to do something different. And so today we're going on almost 5 years clean. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, what did you say? 5 years?
Yeah, what's 5 years?
How synchronous.
Ooh, I just got it. That's what I'm talking about. And, you know, back when I was on drugs, I was in and out of the justice system as a defendant, as a jailer, and I became a jailhouse lawyer. And now, guys, I'm in law school, and I actually left law school to come here because this is my highest, like, law school is my passion, and being able to bring consciousness into a field that so desperately needs it is just part of my passion, because I see how a lot of people are crumbling at the seams of their beliefs and how it shows up in our behaviors.
Yes.
And so it's really cool, like, being in this space, and, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna go to law school, because why not? And so this is part of my joy, and this also will bring up the topic that I really want to talk about in terms of, like, plant medicine, because Mama Aya has been such a powerful teacher. I want to be the ayahuasca lawyer, okay? I don't know how I'm going to bring it into the system, but I realized that could be a really cool program to implement for defendants, essentially, is to be able to bridge that gap. That'd be really cool, but...
Yes. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. And we're getting there. So Mama Aya told me in one of my sessions, because I'm also apprenticing under a shaman, about positive beliefs and releasing that too. And I have released a lot of negative beliefs, and I love finding beliefs. Kind of like, oh, cool, something to release. But she also was saying how, like, there's, to some degree, healing modalities here on Earth could be boggling us down from really diving deep, and that New Age spirituality, and this is not to invalidate anything, but New Age spirituality can kind of create that spiritual bypassing. And I wanted to know your take on New Age spirituality and how it can actually bypass the inner work that needs to be done in order to heal. Because as a transformational life coach, I see this with my clients where they go on these amazing trips and have all these wonderful insights and listen to you, and yet action is not translating, or the, yes.
All right.
Okay.
In a sense, we understand what you mean by spiritual bypass. Now, technically, there's no such thing as bypassing what you agreed to experience on your life path.
Okay.
However, you can accelerate things. You can speed them up by tuning into certain spiritual concepts that allow you to function in a greater flow, to be more of yourself. And that's part of the lesson to learn as to how to experience the idea that you chose to experience on your life path. Quickly, more smoothly, or slowly, with more struggle, and so on and so forth. So it's about the idea of the speed, the scope, and things like that that you can change. It's not exactly a bypass.
Got it.
But it's learning a lesson that allows you to experience what you chose to experience in a more fluid and efficient way, to learn those lessons more fully, more quickly, so that you don't necessarily have to spend any more time than it is absolutely necessary, minimally, to spend as a physical process to allow you to experience the depth of appreciation and discovery and lesson that will allow your soul to grow. So yes, you can mitigate some of it, but you will never bypass anything. But that's what spiritual bypass actually is meant by. The idea of speeding things up, learning things more quickly, recognizing the signs more quickly, sooner, that you can act on more positively, more directly, and so on and so forth. Does that help?
It helps. However, I feel like when I mean spiritual bypassing, yes, and that was all great, but the knowledge is not translating into action for some of the people that I'm working with.
Yes,
what
that's
is it?
true,
Is it the
and you can't
beliefs?
force them to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I've already given up on that idea. But what is it that's creating that gap, essentially?
Fear.
Okay.
Remember, it's love or it's fear.
Got it.
And the idea is that positive and negative is generally associated with the idea of love and fear. So in their belief systems, they're holding on to things and not taking action because they have in their motivational mechanism a belief that says that if they do take that action, they believe something worse will happen than where they are now. As uncomfortable as it may be, it feels safer than the alternative because they're defining the alternative as being worse or more dangerous or scarier.
Got it. So redefine what...
They have to look at their motivational mechanism about why they're holding on to what they're holding on to, because you don't hold on to anything you don't believe serves you. So even if it's something that you intellectually know doesn't serve you, you will still hold on to it if it's the safer alternative to what you believe would happen if you changed.
Okay.
Because you always go to what you believe serves you. You always move away from what you believe does not. Always, without fail. So the moment you see somebody holding on to something you know doesn't serve them, you know that that means they have a belief the alternative is worse. You have to find out why they would believe that and allow them to see the nonsensical attitude they have about that, or how they have learned to see that thing being so blown out of proportion that they can't understand it logically in any way, shape, or form that would allow them to move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll keep probing then.
Oh, all right.
For some who will allow that, of course.
But again, of course, there is the overall caveat that no matter what you share with them, what they do with it is none of your business.
None of my business, yeah. I was so attached to the results initially, and that was so exhausting. I'm like, I just do what I can, and if they match that vibration,
that's all you can
that's
do.
it. Yeah.
That's how you help, is you give them the option,
just option
to make a choice.
Yes.
But you cannot tell them what to do because really, you don't know what their life path is, and you don't know what they do and don't need to learn in this life.
Very true, very true.
And remember, you're eternal infinite spirits. What's your hurry?
Right? Very good point. Two more questions. One is about, could you tell us about the core wounds that humans grow up with? And this is that fear of abandonment.
About the what?
They're called core wounds. So the fear of abandonment is one that, like, just these conditionings essentially, but there's abandonment, there's the lack of self-love or the feeling of unworthiness.
Yes.
There seems to be a pattern that has been going on. Like, what created this? And how...
Forgetting who you are. Forgetting who you are. One of the tenets of allowing yourself to go through a physical earth cycle is the idea of cleaning the slate, forgetting who you are, and thus taking a journey to help you remember who you are from a new point of view. However, because of the depth of that experience in the earth cycle, you can forget who you are to the point of actually experiencing a simulation of disconnection from source. And that simulation of disconnection, of course, you're never actually disconnected, that's not possible. But the simulation of disconnection from source can seem so real that you actually don't feel your connection to source, and the lack of feeling of a connection to source translates in your reality as a lack of worthiness. You don't feel you're worthy to exist.
I see.
So that's where it came from, and the idea is, again, this is why it's a master graduating class, because you have the strength in your soul to even overcome that. And again, even if you don't in one particular lifetime, you always have another chance to do so if you really wish to. So again, it's something that souls choose because, hey, that could be a very powerful, transformational experience if I can remember that I deserve from completely forgetting that I deserve. And it's like going on a roller coaster ride and saying, well, all right, this time I sort of fell out of the roller coaster. But I'll do it again, and maybe next time I'll get the point, and I'll have the help and be open to the help that I receive to help me remember that I am worthy, I am deserving. But again, souls go through this because it's exciting and it's something that can really help you grow. The degree of limitation, again, this is why we call you the masters of limitation. The degree of limitation a soul imposes upon itself is inversely proportional to the degree to which the soul will expand if it overcomes that limitation. So you choose massive limitations because it's so exciting to imagine that if you overcome it, how fast you will expand and what lessons you will learn and how fast you will accelerate.
Story of my life. Like, my goodness. I love this. Thank you for that. And then the last question, okay, so it's what does Gen W and Gen Z need to know about each other to better relate to each other?
I think you will ask the generations about that and not us.
Okay. Sorry, girlie. Well, that's it. And thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you.
You could start a panel of those generations and have them start talking to each other.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania, is it time for your holotope meditation?
It certainly is.
All right. Then we will disconnect momentarily and resume transmission to take you through your holotope meditation. Thank you.